Myself, David Goldstrom, our second visit on day one to the World Weightlifting Championships here in Doha, the capital of Qatar. And coming up in a very few minutes from now, the opening men's championship category, 56 kilos. That should mean Halil Mutlu, but for those of you who haven't perhaps kept abreast of everything, no Halil Mutlu. I'm afraid the Olympic and world champion has been a naughty boy, disqualified for 2 years for taking an illegal substance, nandrolone in his case, and so therefore the title a much more open affair in this men's 56 kilo competition. These are the contenders, just one from Europe, that's Eric Bonnell right at the top, 7 from Asia and 2 from South America, from Colombia, including Nelson Castro, 4 from the top of the list there, the reigning Pan-American champion. Well, David, an interesting situation, 56 kilos, and it does, as you see Mutlu's statistics there, mean that this is quite an interesting challenge.
Well, that's right. It's disappointing that Mutlu's not around, so it's unlikely that we're going to see any world records, but on the upside, we are going to see 1 or 2 very, very good battles for medals.
And straight away, starting off with Sergio Rada, one of the 2 Colombians. Incidentally, we've actually got a 16-year-old athlete in this lineup, which is unusual at this level. More of him when we see him. This young man is only 21, one of 3 lifters today in the A finals, celebrating his birthday on the 1st of January. Bronze medal recently in the Junior World Championships. And a good enough start.
Yes, good clean opener.
And of course, those of you joining us for the first time, let me emphasize that these are the first senior world championships at which the 1 kilo rule is being introduced. No longer the minimum increase being 2.5 kilos, it's 1 kilo, which makes the whole battle, particularly at these lighter weights, a lot more interesting, a lot more tactical, and the body weights arguably a lot less relevant.
Yes, and of course these athletes are all weighing under 56 kilos, or 56 kilos or and under, which is 8 stone 11. So all of these men are under 9 stone.
Well, here's a familiar face, Eric Bonnell for France. Just about the oldest man in the class, very experienced, 31 years of age. Didn't get a total in Athens. That was a huge disappointment to him. He's been in recent times 5th in Europe at 107 kilos for his opening weight. Heyday, I have to say, for Eric, really about 5 years ago, when in the European Championships snatched 118 kilos, which remains his personal best.
Well, it would have been 117.5 then, because of course we didn't have the new kilo rule. But that was good. So 107 kilos.
Good lift.
Sergio Rada opened up on
105.
Bonnell, always tough to compete at World Championship level in Vancouver a couple of years ago, just before the Athens Games, outside the top 10, totaled up 255. But a terrific servant to French weightlifting, France, who hosted the World University Championships last season. Mr. Bourgarides, the president of the French Federation, hoping that in the near future that he can host the Senior European Championships. So the Pan-American champion, Nelson Castro, with 110 kilos now on the bar.
Yes, so almost approaching double body weight at this very, very early stage of the competition.
Yeah, he's really graduating into the senior ranks. He competed in Athens in the B division of the Olympic Games and snatched 117.5 kilos, which is exactly what he did in winning the Pan American title. So a promising South American, but on that evidence starting well within himself.
Well, for me it wasn't the most convincing lift. The arms were a bit soft. But it's a start.
Well, let's wait and see whether, having got one on the board, things sharpen up and he produces an increasing level of performance there. I always find this very interesting, David, when you look at the different lifters in the competition, the different attitude. Here comes a man who sort of just looks a bit more bouncy, a bit more sprightly. And that's youth for you, because here is the 16-year-old Berouzi for Iran. So a nice reception for him. Sajed or Sayed, I hope I've pronounced that, or Sayed I should say. Hopefully I've pronounced it right. If I haven't, send me an email and help me out. 110 kilos.
Oh, very impressive.
Yeah, and that's right on his personal best from Dubai at the end of September, the Asian Championships.
Very, very quick under the bar.
And of course, David, Iran or Iranian weightlifting, headlined by the big man, Razazadeh, who we all think is capable of 500 kilos.
Well, I think time will tell on that one.
The interesting question is, when would he go for that? Would he go for these championships? He certainly entered in the super heavyweight class. I guess we're all hoping that that day comes when he's, you know, fit and full of himself, that he really is prepared to push himself, because that's what it's about at the moment. There isn't anybody out there to push him.
No lift. 110 kilograms remain on the bar.
So Rada got 105, but struggling with 110. And his 110 compares with Li Zhang of China, who's proposed an opening weight of 122. Likewise, Wang Xingwan of Taipei, and also Jin Yi of Taipei. So those three men together with Wu Meiyin of China. So two Chinese lifters, two Taipei lifters, and they're all proposing to open up within 2 kilos of each other. So that promises to be quite fascinating. Now I think he's going to follow himself here, Rada, so he's got 2 minutes.
Yes, I think he's got the strength. He pulled the bar to arm's length. It's just about technique. I think the trouble is when the weight gets heavy, you tend to lean your body back right at the top of the pull, which puts a bit of backward momentum on the bar. And on this one, he's got to do exactly what he did last time, but he's got to stand up rather than leaning back at the top.
So, third and final attempt for Sergio Rada. Important mark for him. Better.
Yes, did everything right.
111 kilograms on the bar. 111 kilograms. Next weight.
Just underlining that weightlifting isn't just about being strong enough, it's about focus, concentration.
I must say the most important thing is, of course, to get the technical aspects of the stage presentation correct. As you see, Eric Bonnell coming out for his second attempt, 4 kilos up at 111, but I have to say I've seen smarter presented stages in my life. It looks a little bit more like a club weightlifting venue rather than a world championship venue.
It's quite basic.
That won't be worrying Eric Bonnell.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Stop the movements.
So Garusha of Moldavia to open up on 112. Igor Garusha. Well, that's a couple of kilos more than he achieved in the Europeans, in which he finished 6th last spring. But
didn't gain enough height on the bar. He's trying to fix it overhead.
He's a lifter who
stood up.
Sorry, David, I was going to say he's a lifter who's fluctuated a little bit between 56 and 62 kilos, so he's down in the lower weight category again now.
Of course, that's one of the problems that we discussed earlier. When reducing, it's up to the coach to decide what the athlete should start on. And I think that when you've come down from a heavier bodyweight class, you should certainly err on the side of caution and use your 3 attempts to build.
Bonnell, by virtue of that 1 kilo at the moment in the lead, although he weighed in pretty heavy, 55.91. There is no one heavier than him amongst the 10 that are vying for honours tonight. Dr. Ayan prowling around the secretariat, having a little chat with Attila, their computer expert.
That's better. Again, underlining that it's concentration. He wasted that first attempt because he wasn't focused. He didn't stand up with his pull before going under. Rushed it.
Yeah, and he is one of the lighter men. In fact, at 55.37, there is nobody lighter. But a long way to go. Bonnell coming out for his 3rd and final lift. Interesting, David. I mean, a lot of lifters, you know, you want to go for the big prizes, the Olympic Games, the World Championships. Bonnell's known for a long time that that's always going to be, you know, outside his compass. So what keeps driving you?
Well, I think he's got a chance of a medals in European Championships, and you know, you don't have to be the best to enjoy the sport. I mean, he still competes in the A final in most championships. And maybe he just loves the sport. I mean, somebody said to me once, why have you competed in 6 Commonwealth Games? You know, there's you know, you're not earning millions of pounds. And I said, well, I actually enjoy the sport, which is a concept that I hope many youngsters will have, as opposed to just getting involved in things just purely for the monetary benefit.
Not that there's any particular monetary benefit in weightlifting.
Well, it depends where you live. If you're
in Qatar,
if you're Greek,
or in Qatar, remember it was not so many years ago that Qatar invested $1 million in a whole bunch of Bulgarian lifters. Now, what sort of day would this chap have had, David? I mean, here we are coming in for the evening, so how will he have prepared for this day?
Well, all of these athletes will almost certainly be training at 2 or 3 kilos overweight. So he will have had a day of probably eating and drinking nothing, sitting in the sauna before the weigh-in. So pretty miserable, actually.
And it's not a pretty happy evening either for him at the moment.
Yes, weightlifting athletes have to weigh in 2 hours before the start of the competition, so during that period they have a chance to have a drink, perhaps something to eat.
I suppose the only comfort is, in a sense, that at least they're not being obliged. Those who are in the A finals and the medal finals tend to lift later in the day, so you don't have to get up so ridiculously early.
No, but
something of a help.
Well, kind of, but sometimes it's good to weigh in early when you've had to make weight, because it's much nicer to kind of go to bed, get up, make the weight, and then be able to eat, rather than having to kind of sit around all day.
Well, plenty of support for this young man, and looking for a 5 kilo increase, so can he do it?
Yes, what's striking about this lifter is that, well, obviously his youth, but he very, very quick under the bar, very fast under the bar.
Yeah, well down in the world rankings, but you would expect that. But
very good
at the moment. He's belying the 27th place that he's got in the world rankings.
Excellent. Well, I mean, this is the time between now and 20 where he's going to make substantial gains. But he's so quick under the bar, which of course is an advantage. You could have 2 athletes that can pull the weight to the same height, but if you've got somebody like him who is so fast, he gets under it before it starts travelling down again, whereas you could have somebody who isn't quite as quick, wouldn't be able to lift as much weight. So there's so many different factors involved in the weight that you actually lift, and being strong enough to pull the weight high enough isn't the only one. As we've already seen, concentration plays a big role as well as speed under the bar.
So Castro had that 1:15 failing, so pressure on now.
And again, correcting after failure. So again, a wasted attempt. If he'd focused and done it right the first time, he'd have a chance to add another kilo or 2 to the bar.
The 16-year-old, I think I incorrectly said that Eric Bonnell was the heaviest, but actually, ironically, the youngest is also the heaviest at 55.95. So you can anticipate, David, that he's not only going to get stronger and lift more weights, but he's also going to be moving up the categories. You sense that he might find his place around 62 kilos?
I would think heavier. I would think 69 to 77, because he's tall. He's a tall athlete.
Well, still the big guns to start. This is the hors d'oeuvre, the main course yet to arrive on the table, so to speak. With no disrespect to these lifters. Now, made a mess of the first one, did it properly the second time. So 5 kilos on the bar to 117 now for Igor Gabrusha of Moldavia.
Not today.
1 out of 3 is, I'm afraid, just not good enough.
70 kilograms on the bar. And this is for the third attempt of Sergio Rada.
As you say, David, he's come down from a heavier bodyweight class, and I think he's making the mistake of thinking that he can lift the same weights, which of course he can't.
See, 112 kilos, it's pretty modest stuff when you consider that the big guns are going to open up on 10 kilos more than he's finishing on. But, well, it'd be very interesting to watch how this young man's career progresses over the next 2 to 3 years. Could easily find himself in the Olympic Games in Beijing.
Well, I would think that with these lifts, he would be in the medals at Junior World Championships. I can't remember offhand what actually won the Junior World Championships this year, but I would have thought this would have been in the top 3. A snatch of 117. Well, it was great up to that point.
But still got a 115 in the Asian Championships. Wang and Yang of Taipei, well, they were snatching Wang 125 and 118. Try and check out those Junior World Championships. Wu Meijin in the World University Championships this year, 120 kilos. But the juniors were in Busan, so I'll try and check on that for you in a second. First appearance for the Korean. This is Jung Hoon. Jung Hoon was the bronze medalist in the Junior World Championships this year in Busan and snatched 121 kilos. The silver went to Huang of Vietnam with 123, and actually Chen of China, well, he was the gold medalist overall, but an incredibly strong clean and jerk of 156, which helped him to those medals. So our young man from Iran, not far away, another year.
He's got 4 years as a junior, so but I think it'll probably be as a 63 or a 69er, 62 or a 69er.
Yeah. So rather a lot of red there. But Baruzi from Iran, 2 out of 315 kilos. Lee of Korea, 55 kilos 88, so at the heavy end of the scale. And this is the first of the 2 men from Taipei. This is Jin Yi, and 120 kilos on the bar for Yang. So things about to get serious now. He's 24, failed to get a total in the Olympics in Athens. Having said that, if you go back to Warsaw, the World Championships in 2002, he was the silver medalist and snatched 125 kilos on that occasion. More recently, 124 kilos, that was in Macau in the East Asian Championships.
Yeah, so this would be a sensible starter.
Absolutely.
His coach looks a bit disinterested.
Is that textbook coaching? It was almost one of those comments like, "Don't look at me." I mean, you. Well, if he was looking for inspiration and help, he didn't. He just got really, in a sense, told to get on with it.
Is currently ranked 7th in the world, but in this year's University
So Jin Yi, third ranking in the IWF rankings coming into these World Championships.
He also has a number of medals from the Junior World Championships, series and bronze.
Well, I might just have a quick revision of that. Now, Yang actually now down to 7th, my apologies. When I last looked, but the official rankings only arrived this morning, so they've now corrected him to 7th place as a result of his efforts in Dubai. So this time, he can't afford to make a mistake. Not if he wants to be going for significant honours, David. He's got to get this in. Well, it's not convincing. And were the legs in line? I'd like to see that from the side.
That was a good lift, but he doesn't seem, he's not on fire, is he? He's not doesn't seem to have woken up yet.
Yeah, just those feet looked.
Well, he wouldn't get the. You have two referees have to agree that the feet are in line before they press their little button and the buzzer sounds. So
that was the 120. This coach. I don't think I'd like him coaching me. I mean, is that? Like a little bit of help from your friends, really, wouldn't you? Well, he's got a difficult moment now because obviously he would have hoped and expected to have got that 120 and then to have moved on, and he's got a decision whether he actually ups it, and if he does, by how much. And I think he's got to think in sensible terms of the overall game. So two Chinese athletes, Wu Meijin and Li Zheng, both real strong contenders. Wu Meijin for China, 4th in the world rankings as a result of his success in the student games. That was back in July in Villeneuve in France, when he snatched 120, 155 for a 275 total. So you would expect him to come here ready to do a lot more than that. Well, that's the opening performance of the Olympic silver medalist and the defending world champion. In fact, the world champion in 2002 and the world champion in 2003. 25 years of age, so really, in a sense, David, right at the height of his powers. Steve Cannon lurking there as the technical controller or guardian of the warm-up room. Now the other man from Taipei, Wang Xin-Huen, 29 years of age. Like his teammate, actually also failed to total in the Olympic Games in Athens, the last really big competition for all of these men. Oh, that's better. Asian Championships recently opened up with the 125, went 151 for a 276 total. So, could this be the man of the night? It's really a man coming back to form. Won the Asian Championships back in 2000 in Osaka, and he was snatching 125 kilos then. And that was 125 opener?
No, that was 122.
122 for Wang.
So, second of the Chinese athletes.
Yang. With 122. Or not, as the case may be. And that was the third and final attempt, so it leaves him on 120.
No, that was his opener.
Was that
That was his opener, yeah. That's the second of the Chinese.
Second of the Chinese, not the second of the Taipei lifters, sorry. That was Li Zheng on 122. Li Zheng, junior world champion in Minsk in 2004, and also the junior world record holder in the snatch at 130.5 kilos.
Got to follow himself. Well, have a little drink of orange and get back out there and do it. So again, just to remind you, these men are weighing under 9 stone, and the weight on the bar 122 kilos. So this is well over double body weight. About 10 kilos over double body weight.
He thinks, and all the Chinese coaches, that that was an unexpected hiccup. The first failure. But a life given away, really. Even a little battle amongst the equipment manufacturers. Usaka bars, Eleiko weights. I'm quite confused, really. Now 123 for the Korean. Quite interesting, this 5 kilo increase, which even at this level is a reasonable question to ask yourself. He's got one more chance to try and find the answer. I think there's a sense amongst these men, the two men from Taipei and the Chinese and the Korean, that this is all quite tight and close, and they know that there's a title up for grabs here. Maybe just a little bit of nervousness.
Maybe they just pushed, and maybe they're perhaps taking, you know, a kilo or two more than what they should.
Yeah.
And as you say, it's quite a big jump. Perhaps he should have gone and stayed with the others at 122, and then he still had a third attempt. But there you go, it's all part of the game. You have to make the right decisions, you have to be focused when you go on the platform. Mustn't get emotional.
And it's also important that your coaching team is actually reading the signs of the other camp. They've got to be aware of how the warm-up's gone for the other athletes. Do they really look strong? Are they having a good day? Is there any chink, any sort of little sign of weakness that they can detect that might say, okay, I was going for 125, but I don't need to. I'll go 122. And it's all part and parcel of why it's one man that does the job or one woman that does the job when you're out on stage, but it's a team effort up to the point that you walk up those steps and onto the stage to take that weight and put it in the air. I think he's a little bit up against it now, because the problem for him is that if he fails, he's left down on 118, and that's maybe a kilo or two too far away when you think of the overall championship.
Well, I'm just wondering what's happening here now.
Was he going for 123 again? Must be. Surely.
He opened on 120. No, this is the China man.
Oh, sorry.
Opened on 122.
Yeah. Now this is Wang. No, it's not.
This is Meijin.
Wu Meijin. Yeah. 125.
Which means that the Hon must have jumped to 125 then.
Yeah.
Which in a way is madness.
Well, whether it is or not, we'll have to wait and see. We won't have too long to wait. But this is certainly going to put the pressure, turn the screw. This is the man who holds the championship, won the title in Vancouver.
And that looks very, very heavy. So it's turning out. I mean, really, it's anybody's competition, isn't it? At the moment,
absolutely.
There's nobody running away with it.
You would have expected that this little quintet of men, 2 from Taipei, 2 from China, 1 from Korea, all opening around the 120, 122 mark. If that was their aspiration, that in fact they would have actually performed a lot better. Now there's a chance here for Wang with 125 on the board. Now this is just 3 kilos up from his first effort. Here's the man who's beginning to get his nose in front. Not the lightest, but 125 kilos on the board. That's what matters at the moment. 2 out of 2. And he's in the driving seat now because he's able to watch, David, now whatever the others go for. They've all got to try and lift 125.
Will be next.
And of course he's still got 1 lift remaining. Looks quite pleased with himself.
It's a bit of a nearly man, the Wang Xinyuan from Taipei. 4th in the Olympics in Sydney, 3rd in the World Championships back in Athens in '99, now 29 years of age. Could he really come back and grab a world title? Could be.
Could happen.
Could happen.
Today could be the day.
Yeah.
So, failure with 120, then a success, and now a big jump. And on this occasion, proving too big, not just from a physical viewpoint, but also psychologically. Just pulling on that bar, realising just how heavy it was, and deciding not to go underneath.
So we have a situation now that we've got Wang Xinyuan of Taipei, who's got 125. Li Zheng has got 122 for China, and likewise Wu Meijin. And this is Li for Korea.
Yes, now of course he succeeded with 118, failed with 123, and now he's going for broke with 125. So if he gets this, he's right back into the competition. If he fails, he's left down on 118 with quite a big deficit to make up in the clean and jerk.
He's heavier than the lifter from Taipei, so it would only put him into the silver medal position in the snatch phase at this moment, but as you rightly say, it puts him back in with an overall medal chance, or a better one.
Oh, well, look at that. He took the gamble, he believed in himself. Now that's good communication between coach and lifter. They worked out what the problem was. It wasn't strength, it was focus, it was technique. It's good to see somebody perform under pressure and come right back into the competition like that.
So right up there at the moment, Korea and Taipei.
Coach in favor. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Oh, these are crucial moments for the Chinese. So Wu Meijin, I guess this is the guy we thought, being the defending champion, that we had down as our favourite to win again tonight, but it's not going to be plain sailing. 126 kilos, just the 1 kilo to edge himself into first place. Heavier than Wang, so that's the reason for that extra kilo going on. Still doesn't look convincing to me.
Just not there today.
No.
Just too heavy. So he's left on 122, and the only person that can change things now, from China anyway, is his teammate. There was one attempt left.
So at the moment, you have to say that the Chinese haven't really quite worked this out. And remember also that Wang, whatever happens, whatever Li Zheng does, Wang has still got one more lift. There it is. 2 men, 2 lifts. Quite a lot of red for failure. But 1 or 2 men, most notably the young 16-year-old Benrouzi from Iran, well, he'll have enjoyed himself so far.
Well, Wang deciding to come out on 126, which I think is wise, but I thought the 125 was right on his limit, so I think this is an extra kilo is probably all he could expect, and then he's just got to sit back and hope that it's enough to hold on to that gold medal.
Well, Li Zheng weighed in at 55.49, which is lighter than Wang, so it does mean that Li Zheng only has to do 126 to go into first place. And it's not there because all he has to do now is well, 126 he's got to do because the bar can't go down. So Li Zheng, 21-year-old former junior world champion, the only man who can take it away from Wang at the halfway stage. So can he pick up 4 more kilos?
If he's successful, he can take over the lead from the Vietnamese lifter.
So quite a tight competition. There was only 25 kilos difference between the lowest entered and the highest entered total, 260 to 285. But Li Zheng now actually going for 127. So that would suggest he's confident.
Doesn't need it though. Doesn't need it, but he's done it. So there it is.
127, and China lead at the halfway stage in this men's 56 kilo World Weightlifting Championship. Li Zheng takes the lead away from Wang Xintuen of Taipei on 125, and Li of Korea, heavier, also on 125, but he's now in the bronze medal position, and Wu Meijin, the defending champion, down on 122 kilos. So a spread of 5 kilos between the first 4, but Li Zheng pulling it out of the fire for the Chinese, but we are, as I said, only at the halfway stage. As you can see, it's quite a tight little warm-up area there. Not a huge amount of room, but there are the facts and figures. 127, so a 2 kilo advantage for Lee over Wang. Then you can see the same advantage over Lee of Korea. Wu, 5 kilos off the pace. And then Yang for Taipei, now 7 behind, and then the 16-year-old, well, that's a pretty good performance to be 12 down at this stage. The Pan American champion also on 115, Grabusha from Moldavia, Eric Bonnell and Rada of Colombia down in 10th place at the moment. So half the competition gone, but this is still not a runaway by any means, David.